Okay, there we go. Oh, Council's Judgment. What is this? Vintage Cube? So, from a competitive standpoint, the pick is, I think, pretty clearly Council's Judgment. There's also Prophetic Bolt is a strong card. It's gold, it costs 5. Nightscape Familiar, attempt to wield Turnabout or Frantic Search if we want to try to force Storm. Eh. Yeah, too much better than the other stuff. Mana Drain, huh? That's a pretty solid card. And I think we'll take it over Devout Witness and Nightscape Familiar and Simian Grunt, Chartreuse Cougar, Mountain Valley. We got a foil, you guys. And a dual land. The best blue card is probably Ophidian. Now there's Animate Dead, which is the strongest in a vacuum. I think this is early enough in the draft that I'll just pick up Animate Dead and see where things take us. Oh no, it's Tendrils. Mana Drain could be kind of cool in Storm. We're essentially passing Gust Cloak Carrier, Salt Flats type cards for this. A lot of black cards here. Well, that's good. Nightscape Familiar not wheeling. It shouldn't wheel, but I had some faint hope. I think I'll take Search here. Oh, this one does wheel. Well, we'd kind of like some obsessive searches now. There's some merit to just taking a cycler, actually. Take rescind. Frantic Search also works well with Animate Dead. If we just get a huge fatty, I'm not opposed to picking it up. I guess Mono Drain helps you cast huge fatties too. Tethers is good. Maybe we'll sideboard this against Battle Screech. Hey, this card's great. I'll play that in Storm. It's an awesome blocker. I mean, if we get a great Storm deck, we probably won't play Killer Whale. But in the average Storm, wow. The card I was talking about wanting to pick up got 15th. Volcanic Island doesn't do much. It's between him and Expunge. Him can mess people up pretty good, but I think Expunge is better. Specifically in Storm, I think Expunge is a little better. Both because you're often blue heavy, especially if we pick up a high tide. It can cycle, and it stops actual pressure on the board. Him, sometimes you knock out like your opponent's 3-drop and 4-drop, and him is just disgustingly good. If you draw it late, or you just hit their expensive spells, or you hit their removal spell that they weren't going to use anyway, it's just a tad less consistent. If Hymn to Turak cost 1 in black, I absolutely would have taken it there. Could go with a Regrowth. I don't think we want to splash. Just want Repel. It's a lot like Expunge, sort of. Ooh, Slide. We're taking Manowar or Chainer's Edict. Gosh. Now we're talking. Huh. The most Stormish cards here are Familiar and Tethers. We don't have any fatties yet, really, for Animate Dead. I'll pick this up, I guess. is also a solid card in a not that stormish, just controlling deck. Well, hello. That's an acceptable 6-pick. This is... Storm is pretty open, I think we can safely say. Probably going to get Tribute to the Wild last. Obsessive Search would be awesome. I think we're supposed to take Brain Freeze over Obsessive Search there. We've got 2 actual good kills, plus Demonic Tutor, so I think we can skip the Fissure. With the third Frantic Search, I think it's better than Scourge Familiar. Circular Logic becomes pretty good. We're looking at pack 3 cards. Yep, it's the Tribute. I believe this card is only in the set because it was in Commander 2013. It was an exclusive Precon Commander card, and this is the Moto release that gets Commander cards online. I think we take second Brain Freeze. If there's any turn where we get to Brain Freeze plus Brain Freeze someone, yeah, you don't need that much Storm to get lethal there. And we've got Demonic Tutor, so we can potentially freeze, tutor for second freeze, cast second freeze, boom. Would be very happy to wheel Obsessive Search. Scrivener would also be solid. When you have a Nightscape Familiar out, it's only 6 mana to Brain Freeze plus Scrivener plus recast it. Could take Mana Prism. Take Penumbra Worm. That would be for the Animate Dead plan. I don't think we'd play it. Like, yeah. We've got enough actually good Storm cards to not do that kind of sketchiness. Which of these is the most potent sideboard card? Waterfront Bouncer is really good versus green-white auras. Grand Coliseum might not be bad. Counterspell might not make the main deck since we have Mana Drain, but it's definitely good in some matchups. This works pretty nicely with Frantic Search. Not sure that we'll have room. Oh, Deep Analysis, easy. Deep Analysis is so good with Nightscape Familiar. We've already got one Cabal Ritual anyway. Boom. Okay, things are really coming together. It's possible that we can cut Tendrils of Agony, crazily enough. With the 2 copies of Freeze and the Demonic Tutor, we might not need Tendrils. Oh, man. Obsessive Search is kind of like a 1-mana draw 2 with Frantic Search, but I think we're going to get a 3rd copy right now anyway. Boom. We could have taken Obsessive Search over Gush and then Scrivener over this search. I think the 2nd Gush is quite valuable though. It's not that hard to wait until you have 4 islands to go for it. Sure. Alright. I'm going to declare that we got there. Now, it has been a long time since I played Blue-Black Storm in this format. I might make a few deck building mistakes. First question is, are there any cards in the format that beat Brain Freeze? Well, there are no Eldrazi Titans. Gaia's Blessing's not in the format, no Felden's Cane. I don't even think there are any effects that put stuff on top of your library. I think we actually just cut Tendrils. No search effects for Brainstorm. So Obsessive Search is definitely a lot better. Technically we have Tutor. Using Demonic Tutor, the shuffle for Brainstorm is kind of funny. But usually, if you're casting Tutor, you don't need the shuffle. If you want the shuffle, you're better off holding on to Tutor. So Dark Ritual is always +2. Cabal goes from being +1 and +3. We aren't that much of a ritual focus storm. I mean, that sounds a little weird, but we've only got 3 familiars. They turn Frantic Search into a rituals. Deep Analysis also works nicely with Frantic Search. I think we might be able to just cut Repel. Expunge is better. It's possible we should just play like this, 16 land. We like to hit land drops, but we do have a decent amount of cantripping. Could also consider cutting Chainer's Edict, which is not that great against white or red, really. Yeah, the flashback on this, not discounted by familiars. Once you have 7 mana, I will probably be dead or want to combo off already. Manowar seems like a better anti-aggro card. Oh man. This is what I'm talking about. 10-7? 12-5, that can't be right. Maybe 11-6. That's more consistent for Gushing, but not so consistent for Nightscape familiars. Well, we don't actually need the Nightscape familiars on turn 2 necessarily. And we do have Mana Drain. Try it like this. Yeah, so I don't have time right now. We're going to have to call it for the night. Probably for the night. We'll be away for at least an hour and a half. But I am really looking forward to playing this when the time is right. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day. Are you live? Yes. And there's our first match. Pretty excited about this deck, but things can still go wrong, of course. I think there are certainly aggro decks in the format that could kill us pretty good. Well, that's gotta be a keep. Whoa. That's the first Power 9 I've seen this week in Vintage Masters. Soltari Trooper on turn 1. Not a bad start. Wonder if we're looking to cycle or cast this Expunge. They play Imperial Armor, we'll Expunge. But if we can only kill something with 2 power, I think cycle is more likely. It sort of has 3 power. Oh. Okay. So we could attack. They block, and I regenerate. I'm not sure if I even like that. This should give us at least 1 draw step, maybe more. We can hard cast Gush next turn. That might be the way to go. Although if they attack with Rootwalla, I will just block and regenerate. There's some merit to using Tutor right now to find a Brain Freeze, but I think we're going to be more limited by Storm Count than by mana when we try to go off, so it's better to just save the Tutor. Okay. Ability. Ability. Yeah, not under too much pressure at the moment. Next turn we can regen and hardcast Gush. We could be nearing the realm where we don't even want to hardcast Gush. We'll see what they do. Okay. Definitely going to Gush then. Can draw us into Deep Analyses or other Nightscape Familiars or so forth. Alright, Frantic Search. That's a good one. Means you might want to stockpile some lands. Huh. I shouldn't have played that island. Kind of on autopilot, but clearly a mistake. Wow, this is not streaming very well. Okay, we're gonna monodrain that. And then we might try to go for it. With our extra 5 mana, it's possible we could detutor for deep analysis. I think Frantic Search comes first. Well, there's a deep analysis. Untap, untap, untap. Costs 3. 1 to flashback. Yeah, it would be really difficult to fail to get there at this juncture. In fact, we can just tutor for the second brain freeze. Ritual. Only storm count to 5 right now. Maybe we'll try to avoid showing them the second freeze. Oh. We're going to have to show them the second freeze, but that's not too awful. 15 brain freezes, 45 mil. Good stuff. Now, do we want any sideboarding? Chainer's Edict could be solid against auras. Rescind. Kind of like Expunge. It's got plenty of fine cards in the sideboard. The problem, quote unquote, is that all the cards in the main deck are great. So I don't actually think we sideboard anything. We're on the draw versus a sort of aggressive deck. Maybe Circular Logic's supposed to come out. Ah, okay. May have to try to tackle some performance issues before playing rounds 2 and 3. This is an interesting hand. We've got essentially 2 copies of Brain Freeze. I believe we're just going to Obsessive Search end of turn. Now they are in white, so they could have sided in Gilded Light, I think it's card. The cycling card that gives you Shroud. With enough Storm, 2 Brain Freezes will just beat that. So you can respond with the second one. Oh, Writ. That's interesting. So we could go with Tutoring right now. I think we will just do so. Cloak. Life is not terribly relevant here. The +2/+2 is. Wonder if we have a kill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 9. So we only mill 27 cards here. But there's also no reason to go for it yet. Although, depending on what we got from Gush, there was definitely the potential to win that turn. Didn't pump Rootwalla. Okay. So we're going to have to try to do it on turn 2 here. But I think we've got a solid shot. Not a spectacular one. Jellyfish. We aren't going to get Threshold, but we don't need it, right? This gets us to 6. Replay an island is 7. Monoir, freeze, lethal. This is about as fast as we can really go for it. If you play Familiar on 2, in theory you can go off on 3. An auspicious start to the draft. The stream's been doing a little better. I think I'll just hop into round 2 since that went so fast. Would we like to play first? I think so. Oh, this is a hand. There are not control, not at all. Combo. This is a very stormy deck. If we play Nightscape Familiar, they might just kill it. I think we can go a little slower. Yeah, this is possibly the most disgusting blue-black Vintage Masters Storm deck I've drafted. And I did it a lot back in 2014. That's fine. Next turn we can Familiar, Mana Drain, untap, Gush, cast a bunch of Frantic Searches, probably will Storm off for lethal. It would be most convenient if they just play Beetleback Chief or Flametongue Kavu, some other kind of 4-drop. Both because they're tapped out. Oh, alright, got reimbursement from an earlier draft. So we'll get 6 mana from this. Lead with Gush. In case we find a second familiar, we want to play it before the searches. So we can play a second familiar now. The searches are Dark Rits. Obsessive Search is a good hit. We'll just chuck the Swamp. Absolutely cast that thing. I think we'll play Deep Analysis before the third search. Is it worth it to familiar here? Doesn't necessarily reduce anything by too much. Okay, search is good. Discard Obsessive Search for sure. We could also discard Deep Analysis if we're concerned about mana. Let's see how much mana we'll have. 5 floating, 3 untapped is 8. We've got some rituals left in the deck. So I think we keep analysis in hand. Oh, it's another gush. I think we'll lead with deep analysis. Yeah, we only really need 1 blue to cast a single copy of Brain Freeze. And so now we can just detutor for Brain Freeze, and we've got way more than lethal. Boom. Yeah, so that's the sort of turn I was interested in taking. Wonder how many cards we drew. 1, 2, 10, 18, 20. I think we drew 20 cards, but would have been pretty easy to get to 22. Okay, so it's goblins. It doesn't need to be a sorcery or instant necessarily. Any spell that was cast earlier in the turn increases the storm count. So in our case, predominantly instants and sorceries, but a Nightscape Familiar would also add to the storm count. In other formats, Mana Rocks sometimes will increase the storm count. We do have an ability to play Manowar for discounted rate, have it return itself, repeat a few times if we need to drum up some storm. But yeah, it just copies the spell. Maybe we cut Circular Logic. For what? For a Brainstorm or a Trainer's Edict? Oh, Empty the Warrens. Yeah, it's a storm card that makes goblin tokens. In this draft format, Storm is just in blue-black. But in broader Magic, there's a lot of good ones in red. Maybe just Brainstorm. Well, we've got 2 familiars and a demonic tutor, so this is a keep. As long as at least one of the familiars lives. Oh my goodness. Yeah, things look okay for now. Okay, so we'll play this one right out. If they kill it, then I'll wait until turn 4 to play the second one. Possibly go off with the turn 4 Nightscape Monodrain. Turn 5, have a bunch of extra mana and kill them, just like last turn. Oh, that's a cool draw. I think we can expunge the War Chief here. On turn 4, go Familiar Monodrain, and then try to combo on 5. Yep, Matron doesn't do too much. We can probably Monodrain whenever they fetch. We'll be going off with 2 familiars, pretty cheap draw 4. There's a Frantic Search. Sorry. This feels so dirty. Like, we just Monodrain plus Demonic Tutor both games. Sorry, fellow. There's still maybe like a 1% chance we could fizzle. Maybe not. Oh, Gush. Why not Gush? Deep Analysis? Sure. We might have enough Storm already. I'm not thinking about it too hard. Yeah. This is about 80 points of mill, I believe. And pass. Okay. Well, let's just hop in another one. Actually, let's consider our deck a bit first. These games have been going quite fast so far, and I've been wanting to save frantic searches for the combo turn, which means circular logic, maybe not that great. Circular logic could be important against control, though. I think I do prefer main decking it to these other three, even if it's worse against aggro. Alright, in the finals, we will play. Yeah, this is a keep. I wonder if we Demonic Tutor for Nightscape Familiar. I think that might not be too unreasonable. They could kill Nightscape Familiar, potentially. I wonder if we Obsessive Search. I think I will cast a search here. So we need to find lands. We could detutor from Mana Drain, but I don't think that really does it. Yeah, I'm actually... Ooh. I think we just grab Familiar, but I'm thinking about whether we can wait until next turn. I'm going to wait. If we draw Familiar naturally, then that changes our choices. If we draw a second Brain Freeze, we can maybe just combo off in style of Frantic Search, Ritual, Tutor, Brain Freeze, Brain Freeze. Depending on how pressured our life total is, we can search chucking 2 deep analyses. Yeah, I actually believe that I like this. Might only chuck one deep analysis though, depending on what we draw. Yeah. Kind of a lot of lands, but we should have 2 turns at least, probably. We can discard a land to hand size here, which will help us get 1 closer to threshold. Jeez. It's not exactly how we've been hoping things would go. So none of those increase their damage on the immediate next turn. We're going to 12. So we won't necessarily have to go for it. But if we draw something good, I think we can. Alright. We should game this turn out a bit. We can Gush, Demonic Tutor, Cabal Ritual, free 2 mana plus 3, so it puts us up 1. Obsessive Search gets us back to being mana neutral. Deep Analysis is a net cost of 2, so we would have 3 left, which is enough to cast Brain Freeze, but we'd have a storm of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not enough. We could get there if we found some Frantic Searches or Dark Ritual or so on, but I believe we've got enough life to wait 1 more turn. They could always go, War Chief, Pile Driver, or something crazy. Alright. This means even when we flashback Deep Analysis, we'll be out of Fire Blast range, which is pretty comforting. Expunge, huh? Well, let's start with Gush. Oh, Nightscape Familiars. Nightscape Familiars means we can play Familiar and then Ritual. We need one more for Threshold. I think we'll actually just cast Obsessive Search to get Threshold. Get 5 mana. Play down Familiar. Flashback Analysis. Storm count of 5. 5 mana available. So we can Familiar, Detutor, Brain Freeze. We'll mill them for 24, which is not really enough. Instead, I think the line is to tutor for Frantic Search, which gets us some new cards and some more mana. But it's definitely possible that we'll fail to get there. Alright, grab Brain Freeze. Mill some for 24. That might be good enough, though. Then they draw their 25th card. We try to block. Let's see. We know that 2 of the cards in their hand are Commando and Goblin. We would die to a Chain Lightning. I think Search is a little better, but there are a lot of numbers that are quite important, and I didn't... Okay, we got there. I didn't actually sit down and calculate that out, which I might have if there wasn't a real human on the other end of this. Boom. Gotcha. Alright. That was a more tense comboing off session than the previous match. Playing against goblins, cut the logic. I do like Choking Tethers and Manowar. Not Chainer's Edict too much. I think just Brainstorm is good. On the draw, this hand's interesting. Quite interesting. It doesn't have Nightscape Familiar, Brain Freeze, Detutor, or Mana Drain. But it does have some cantrips. I think we might be better off with 6. I often mulligan less than I should, so I went the other direction this time. And we'll see whether that works out. I want to save that to combo with Frantic Search, I'm pretty sure. Alright, hulking. If they play something threatening, I'll save Expunge. If they play something like Goblin Matron, I'll just cycle it. Well, there we go. Oh, it's War Chief. Well, that means we save Expunge after all. Excellent draw. They can still use the cost reduction to play a hulking. Yep. If we draw a swamp, we'll have Regenerate up. That would be preferred, but drawing lots of non-lands is good too. Well, amusingly, if they try to kill Familiar, we can Frantic Search, untap the swamp, regenerate, but that empty the Frantic Search out of our hand, so I would rather not. This is 5, puts us to 10. Oh man, destroy our swamp, huh? That's quite interesting. Ooh, brain freeze. So let's think about this. We can cast 3 spells earlier for sure. I don't think we're too likely to get there. I'm gonna wait a turn and just hope that they can't scrounge up the required additional damage. I think we probably had about a 30–40% chance to get there if we just tried to storm off. I think there's only about a 50% chance that they'll finish us off. Deep Analysis is dicey to flash back now, though. Ugh. We do probably lose to that. But we might as well search in response here. This is on our upkeep for some reason, so it will contribute to our storm count. Well, we'll just discard Dark Writ. These other cards are more important. Untap, untap, untap. Solar Blast, unfortunately, does not add to Storm. Activated ability, triggered ability. We could Frantic Search plus Brainstorm right here. So the benefit is that we don't have to pay for Brainstorm. The downside is that we see one fewer card on the Frantic Search because we don't have our draw step yet. I think we're going to need a Gush to win this game. Cast the Frantic Search here. But I really can't say for sure that that is correct. Now maybe we should raid on the Brainstorm anyway, just so we see one card deeper. Yeah, I think we probably should wait. Finding the third Frantic Search would be pretty solid. We've got a D-Tutor instead. I don't think that's going to do it. The problem is that we don't have enough mana to tutor freeze. We don't have enough black to tutor for Cabal Ritual. We can tutor for Gush. Does that do anything? Not really. We can't cast Search. We can't cast any rituals. Even if we Gush freeze, it's 24 points of mill. So we need to try to get there on Obsessive Search. Just be very lucky. Not very lucky. We can still fetch Gush, but I don't believe it can do anything at this point. Okay, well that definitely doesn't do anything. On to tiebreakers. Addle can protect Nightscape Familiars. Counterspell can buy us some time, but what would we be cutting? I like all of these cards a bunch, so just going to submit, hope that being on the play and not mulliganing will, well, hope that we don't mulligan. And that lets us get there. Ooh. Certainly a keep. So they won't be able to kill Familiar with Solar Blast. They'll need exactly Chain Lightning. You're not a Chain Lightning. So that means we've got time. Time to make some land drops and draw some cards. Okay. That doesn't actually deal too much damage, but it is scary for next turn. I think perhaps we just Brainstorm. Yeah, let's see what we've got. Okay. The search is very good. So I think we can just block and regen here. Next turn, Tethers. We could also cast Deep Analysis, but then we don't have regen mana up, so I don't think I like it. Alright, Drill Sergeant. Goblin General. That will be our Tether's target. So we should probably be able to take one attack next turn, and then we'll have to go off. Which we should be favored to get there, I think. I don't believe they have Chain Lightning. It's very bad if they top decked it, but the 2 life could buy us an entire draw step. Okay. So now we Deep Analysis, and we'll still have regen mana up. Ooh. We just play second Familiar here? I think so. We don't have regen mana, but if they have 1 kill spell, we still untap with a Familiar. And it should be extremely difficult to die and very easy to combo off. Yeah, this is 14. But we've got a lot of shenanigans. Technically, we die to Fire Blast if we do this, but if they have Fire Blast, they should have cast it already. Oh, found a second Gush. We've got a land drop, so we can Madness this one. Actually, we just have lethal, right? Yeah, more. Drew practically every land in the deck, I think. But the pair of Brain Freezes is quite sufficient. One, two. Only drew 13 out of 17 lands, actually. And I'm not complaining, it's just amusing. And unfortunately, it is now over. The God deck is past our grasp, never to return. But we can always hope to draft a Pale Imitation.